weekly property tip. This week we've got Jason Werrett back again.
G'day again.
Based off last week, we had Natalie talking about an update in the property management area. Now we've got Jace in to talk about all things sales. Thanks for coming, mate.
My pleasure.
First and foremost, we're nearly at the end of the financial year, 1 month to go. What's happening, mate?
Yeah, crazy time. It's gone so fast. Felt like Christmas was only a few weeks ago. Look, it's all still going, I suppose, as we expected. So it's still going quite well. The market activity is still very strong. It's still slow and steady in a sense of properties coming onto the market. So there's still a fair bit of hesitation about some clients thinking about selling, worried about where they're going to go to. So that is obviously a general market concern, but has been for quite some time now. So that's still happening. Building industry is still hyped up, so that's obviously slowing that down as far as potentially needing to sell to build with lack of land available. So yeah, everything's still plodding along as it should do, I suppose.
And price points, obviously, I think anywhere from 150 through to 450 is probably red hot.
Absolutely, that's a strong investor market. So still some first home buyers out there. Feel for the first home buyers because it's just so competitive at the moment. But yeah, the investor market's definitely pushing that along really, really strongly. So they're very active.
And I think even going a little higher too. I've had investors in 600s. So great for the area. And we think that's probably off the back of obviously Sydney and coastal market being too dear and coming in.
Yeah, definitely. It still shows affordability, even though our market's lifted in values quite significantly. It's still affordable for certainly metro areas. Very tough to invest in those locations, and they still fluctuate probably a bit too dramatically for steady income. Whereas Tamworth is just solid, those regional cities. So
a little talk about interest rates. Obviously, we've had our first little slight increase, or a little bit of slight increase, and a lot of negative press. But how does it impact Tamworth?
Very little. At the moment. So it really is, I suppose, a minor increase. Obviously, there's talk about further increases due to just inflation and that sort of thing. So there will be more to come, but realistically, the small adjustment that's happened at the moment really would only affect people that are got quite a fair bit outlaid. So if you're a fairly, if you've got a big portfolio that's heavily weighted in finance, well, obviously any rate rise is going to impact you to some degree in there when you've got millions of dollars tied up in there, or in those city areas where they've got some pretty hefty mortgages as well, and most of the time, because of that market demand, like it's been here, buyers are probably stretched right to their limit. So any increase for those guys is definitely going to be, I think, a bit of a struggle. I feel it. But for our market here, I wouldn't say that people are heavily financed compared to those areas. And when you relate it to the market price levels as well, it's more affordable here still. So, so I don't even anticipate with future increases over the next year or even two. I don't think that'll affect Tamworth's market prices at all in a negative way.
You can feel it sort of start to steady off a little bit, but still at the moment, inquiry's huge.
I think it's still huge for now, and considering that we've just had a rate rise, we're coming into the winter months, which is usually a slower listing cycle and activity cycle, and then on top of that, an election in 2 weeks. Elections usually do slow down with the fear of change. So we're still, for the amount of inquiry that we're receiving on properties at all range levels, all price levels, it's
still churning.
You can feel it, but it's not. It's not as bad as what you would normally see.
And lastly, obviously, we won't hold you to this, mate. Forecast. Crystal ball.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, look, I think we've been saying it for a while now. Our price levels in the marketplace, whether it be land, whether it be existing homes, I think this is our new plateau. We were probably held back a little bit before this big COVID increase due to the drought for regional areas. So where everywhere else had growth before COVID, we were sort of held back. So we've just shot off and caught back up. So I think realistically, we've played a strong catch-up. And for the Tamworth area, this is our new norm. I wouldn't expect to see prices come down at all. I think the demand's still there. The city's still growing. From the commercial aspect, that's still growing, which drives more businesses and people to Tamworth for relocation. So, land developments are still expanding. While the town's still expanding with land and commercial land, that means that there's demand enough there for it. So,
Perfect. Well, that's it for this week, guys. I hope you're a little bit out of today's sales market update with Jace. Obviously, with a little bell, if you're watching this on YouTube, click that to get alerts for when we post the next video. If you're watching on our newsletter, thank you again. Thanks for joining us, Jace.
Thanks, mate. No worries at all. My pleasure.
And we'll see you next week for the weekly property tip.
Thanks very much.